Hey folks, this is Picohan from the North American server, and this is the New Orleans in Ranked Season 9. This is again a relevant video for once. Well, it's like half relevant. At the time of this recording, Ranked Season 9 is going to go on for a few more days, but this iteration of the New Orleans, which has been with us since the beginning of the game, is going to be replaced in patch 7.5 tomorrow. That being said, the Baltimore, the current tier 9, will move down to tier 8 and replace this ship, and it will pretty much play the same way. So most of the things said here will apply to the tier 8 Baltimore as well. So this game is in the lower bracket, the tier 8 bracket, which goes from rank 22 to rank 10. This must be rank 15 or 14. And most people consider rank to be basically a pseudo-random battles. But since I'm not very creative, I usually just run the clan battle strategies, which is usually push the far cap and guard the near cap. You'll see at the beginning I called out to guard A and to push C. You shouldn't expect anyone to listen, but if people go along, and I found that a lot of times people do, it's useful. So what do you do with the New Orleans? Well, this isn't the only way to play it, but this is the way I like to play it. You go in and you support a cap. You use an island for cover, and since the gun arrangement is 2 turrets in the front, 1 turret in the back, if you just go bow in along the edge of an island, you can get most of your firepower forward, and it's very easy to guard yourself against pretty much anything. In clan battles, we don't usually send, or we don't always send, the Des Moines, which is the equivalent type of cruiser in clan battles, to the pushing cap, but at least in ranked, I want to put myself there because that's typically where your potato team needs the most help. This island next to the C cap is actually really good for what I was just describing because it's low enough such that if you rotate around it properly, you can get the third gun into action, but it's high enough that you can do this without being detected a lot of times. This is a really good island, and there aren't necessarily a lot of good islands like this in this game. So you can see I've gone just far enough around this island that I can shoot at the turpits and not be detected. So at least for a little bit, this is basically free damage. As the turpits start getting far enough away that I don't feel like he can hit me all that reliably, I move forward a little bit more and try to start working on the next guy. And you just want to keep an eye on that priority target thing to see who's trying to shoot at you. I was a little bit annoyed that Atago could get his shots over the island there, and in response, of course, I started pulling back again. As long as those 2 cruisers are looking at me, I'm going to keep them behind the island and just keep working on the turpits. You'll see that our Kiev, who took the easy cap, got crapped on by their carrier. I did suggest earlier if our carrier could guard him, and of course don't expect anything, and he didn't do anything. But now the Atago is making a bit of a mistake. he's advancing into myself and the friendly to cow, so I anticipate that he'll want to turn around, and I try my luck on AP. Then he slows down, so back to HE it is. But now it looks like our Takao is doing something stupid and he's trying to capitalize. So once again to AP, but I think I'm a little bit too late here. And not only do I aim too short, but maybe it was a little high as well. He shot AP at me, but we moved in an unpredictable way, and we were able to dodge it. Again, usually you want to hug that island and limit the number of ships that can shoot at you, but I pulled forward a little bit more aggressively because I was trying to help our Takao. That's a little bit of a risky move here, because there's a lot of people looking at me. But in some regard, it does pay off because we were able to get a broadside AP salvo on that New Orleans, and you saw how much that did. Those are really the perfect kind of shots for American cruisers. I started pulling back because of said situation, but then, since the New Orleans is low, the Otago is low, and our New Orleans seems to want to make a move, well, here we go again. We do finish the enemy New Orleans. As an aside, I used my defensive fire there, and we shot down some planes. Hooray for AA. I slowed down here because I saw the Tirpitz going behind the island, and I would like to keep him there while we work on the Otago. We also got this cap, which I would like to think is in part because of my harassing them and then trying to help out with some of these pushes. On the other flank, the Reds took out the Kiev and A early on, but then their two destroyers overextended and got taken out by the Bismarck. And just like that, we went from a 2-ship deficit to a 1-ship lead. And that maybe is one of the, not necessarily issues with ranks, but one of the attributes. I think too many times it's better to do nothing than to try and then mess up. So we've got the ship advantage, but we still need to get the caps. So the DD said he was going to go to B, and I decided to go to A. I was hoping the other New Orleans would go to B as well, so we could create a crossfire on the Edinburgh, but we didn't need to. The Edinburgh ran into the Akizuki and gave us a perfect broadside, so we were able to punish it. He smokes up, but then, of course, we have radar. I didn't trip it till we were past this island, and the Edinburgh didn't seem to know what to do and just sat there. So we were able to get another good salvo and finish him off. It took a little bit more damage there than I would have liked, but then the real money cake shows up. This should be a pretty easy fight since it is a New Orleans versus a Shokaku, but since my health is really low, I still need to be careful. I don't think I can take a Torp, even though I can take maybe a couple dive bombs. I use HE because he's angled, but also because, well, it used to be that getting a fire on a carrier was a reliable way to shut them down, since carriers can't launch planes with a fire. But now they have that skill that lets people work around that. But at the same time, I don't know how many carriers actually take that skill. So I'm not really sure what the balance is here. That being said, after he starts burning, I do switch to AP. I wait for his torpedo bombers to get pretty close before triggering defensive. And the AP is not necessary because the carrier's already burnt down by the time I take another shot. CV does issue some auto-drop commands to his planes before he dies, but it doesn't really matter. This game is pretty much buttoned up. We've got 3 caps and a 2-ship advantage. That being said, the 1 ship left is a Tirpitz, which could potentially take out me or the other New Orleans, but I think we're far enough away that it shouldn't be a problem. You'll see I toggled the AA there because I wanted to see if I could drop off, but the planes that the carrier left behind were too close. So I'm just going to try to make it to this island ahead of me and just dodge on my way there. This Tirpitz probably played a big factor in losing the game for the other team. He really needed to push back into us after we took C rather than go on this adventure on the 8 line. Now he's pretty much too far away to have any effect, and he wasn't able to take out our carrier over there either. Just some final cheeky shots. We do get a fire, but I think it's the fire from the other New Orleans who finally takes him out. So that's the New Orleans, or the old New Orleans now. I played maybe 30 games in it between ranked seasons 8 and 9, and this was pretty much the best one. We got 107,000 damage, a high caliber, which it's easier in rank due to the lower total HP pool, but still not trivial. We got almost 3,000 base XP, which may be my highest ever, not just in ranked. And we shot a good mix of HE and AP, getting almost twice as much damage per AP shell hit than HE, even with fires combined. Overall, I think the general sentiment is that the New Orleans has never been a particularly strong ship, and I don't disagree with that, but it's been very consistent for me in both ranked and randoms. I never really have that many great games because it's not that strong or whatever, but I don't really have that many really bad games either. I've enjoyed playing it more than I thought I would, and I'll miss it when it moves, as I will the Baltimore when that moves. But that's pretty much it for this replay, so have a nice day.